Somehow, during their last gaming session, she managed to communicate to her characters about the growing threat of Skartaris in David's designated section of the map. Her three characters, Delrael the Fighter, his scholarly cousin Velret, and the half-sorcerer Brill, had tried to protect their land from Skartaris by creating a giant barrier river that severed the eastern half of the map from the rest. But now she knew, as did her characters, that the barrier river would not stop David's creature. It would only trap half the inhabitants of Hexworld on the wrong side, with the growing threat of Skartaris. She stared at the blue line of hexagons that indicated the river slicing down the map. It still gave her shivers to think about it. Hexworld showed its own power the previous week, during their last gaming session. This had become much more than a game, to all of them. In their imaginary adventure, the new river came surging from a channel from the northern sea to pour across the plains, and as the four players watched, Melanie's painted map reflected the change all by itself. Hexagons of forest, grassland, and swamp terrain turned blue right in front of their eyes. Scott, the rational one, had been amazed and terrified, unable to hint at an explanation. But Melanie knew the explanation. It was so simple. After being steeped in the gaming fantasy as dictated by the rules, Hexworld had developed its own magic. And Hexworld was not going to accept its destruction without a fight. If she could do anything to help, even if it meant stretching the rules a bit behind the other players' backs, then Melanie felt obligated to do so. After all, not many people ever had the opportunity to save a world, not even an imaginary one. Satisfied that the new paint had dried, Melanie carried the map board out to the kitchen and started to prepare herself for the game. The future of her world would be in the roll of the dice. 1. Enrod's Crossing. Something is terribly wrong here. My own city of Ter has succumbed. People I have known for years act strangely. At times, even I do not know what I have done or where I have been. And the untainted lands to the west have cut themselves off from us with a great river. We are trapped and alone. We have been sacrificed. They didn't even give us a chance. Enrod, Annals of Ter. Final entry. The sentinel Enrod stood on the eastern shore of the barrier river. The black hex line that separated the water from overhanging willows and reeds extended razor-sharp as far as he could see, north and south. Off in the distance, across the impassable expanse of water, he could see the green rolling lines of forest terrain, lush and healthy. Farther north, Enrod could see the broad expanse of a hexagon of grassland, all green, all growing, safe and protected from the evil to the east. Enrod gritted his teeth. His hand squeezed the 8-sided ruby, the firestone he had carried all the way from Ter. The corners of the gem dug into the skin of his palm. Enrod paid no attention to the pain. He was the last remaining full-blooded sorcerer male on Hexworld, now that Sardoon was gone. Enrod had used his reserves of magic to keep himself healthy and relatively young-looking, but now the haunted weight of too many years shone out from his eyes. He looked at the green forest terrain across the river. His eyes widened and turned bright. The terrain would not stay green for long. Alien tendrils crept up within him, sliding along his spine inside his skull, like some invading leech. Visions of fire and sorcerous destruction marched across his imagination. Enrod's dark hair had been tangled in the long journey across the map, but he paid no attention to it. Whenever he thought of something else, any other distraction, he felt sharp pain in his head. It would all be better once he brought destruction to the other side of the river, once he showed them what it was like in his city of Ter. Threads of sorcerer blood whipped through his veins like snakes, whispering to him constantly, "Use the power. Show the stronghold that they cannot cut themselves off and leave the rest of Hexworld doomed." They thought they were so safe, so protected. A human fighter character named Delrael had created